So before I start, I want to say thank you to the Screamer Wikipedia for the censored versions of these screamers so the video doesn't have to actually jump scare anyone. Before there was Slender Man, Five Nights at Freddy's, Funny Mouth, and the Russian Sleep Experiment, there were simple screamers. These early short horror pranks all followed similar formats of getting you to trust some quote-unquote innocent game, video, GIF, or GIF if you like to say that, image, or anything of the sort, until you were jumped at sooner or later by some unseen assailant, which I won't be doing to you in this video, so as always, you don't have to chill in the comment sections while you watch. Before we get to 2000s, I wanted to talk about the first ever recorded screamer titled Monkey on Their Backs. This 1970s drug PSA was created by the National Clearinghouse for Drug Abuse to raise awareness for heroin use. The video begins with a wind-up monkey accompanied by a young girl saying, "They say people addicted to heroin have a monkey on their back. Isn't that cute?" Right off the bat, it has everything to be a creepy and engaging ad. Throughout, the monkey is moving around and crashing its cymbals together until it simply stops. Suddenly, the video abruptly switches to a real-life monkey screaming at the viewer. Though the term wasn't coined until the 2000s, this ad is considered the first ever screamer and will be followed by other PSAs and adverts like it. The 90s saw screamers take a more familiar and insidious form, more akin to the intentionally deceitful version we know. This decade would see screamers jump to computers, with the first screamer software, Nightmare, released on Amiga computers. The software would load up an image of a skull, and every 5 minutes, it and a loud scream would take over your computer. Other early net screamers of the 90s include the first screamer game, Blue.Gif, a scareware Trojan that would begin as a game showing an image of the late Nicole Van Croft stripping covered by numbered boxes. Once you reveal 10 boxes of the image, a picture of a new old lady would appear with an audio quote from the Looney Tunes character Granny stating, "Aha, you didn't count on Pocahontas, did you, Geronimo?" I'm sorry, this is just so stupid, but you know how screamers are. Others include the infamous screamer featuring shock sites like albinoblacksheep.com, xwriter.com, and goatseed.cx. Now let's get to actual 2000 screamers. Many are unaware that Nickelodeon released one of the earliest screamers of the early 2000s. In 2002, Nickelodeon.com would feature the flash game Black Licorice, a Halloween-themed game that would begin with a warning that told players not to give away any trick-or-treaters black licorice. In the game, 3 kids with real faces on cartoon bodies appear at the door. The player must give each of them orange candy and avoid the black licorice while happy music plays in the background. However, if you were to click the black licorice, the music would stop and the corresponding kid would become a monster, saying, "Black licorice? I don't like black licorice," in a demonic voice. After this, the player automatically slams the door before the monster can attack. While scary, this isn't even the screamer that got the game in hot water. Should the player choose to close the door on the kids without giving them candy, the child dressed as a bee will look into the mail slot and say, "Oh, I almost forgot." They then burst into the mail slot into your home with a now demonic face and shout, "Happy Halloween." The game was removed from Nickelodeon's site due to parental complaints. Kakaru.exe, or the Sadako virus as it's known in Japan, was a Taiwanese screamer program created by Quinn Lin. And I'm sorry if I pronounced any of these names wrong. It's a few foreign names that I'm pretty sure I'm going to butcher throughout this, so please forgive me. Anyway, the program is malware, and if ran, at first it seems to do nothing. But in silence, it begins infecting the computer memory and will randomly show a full screen image of the Japanese urban legend ghost, Teki Teki, with the scream sound effect. Even when the downloader resets the computer, the program will continue to affect it. There is a bit of lost media in the world of internet screamers, and one example is the Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret. This partially lost YouTube video was uploaded to the site in 2007 by LotusMan17 and deleted in 2012. The video was created in Windows Movie Maker and shows the player unlocking Luigi, which has been a big rumor in Mario 64 since the release of the game. The steps are shown on a black screen and the players are told to circle the courtyard statue, kick the boo, and then press the A button on the wall. As the player goes to do so, the Kakia zombie appears from the car commercial scare. A mass media lost hunt began for this video in 2020, but ended shortly. New footage surfaced from it in 2024 from a reaction to the screamer. Speaking of Kakia, not many know that this is where one of the most iconic screamers of all time comes from. Kakia is a German beverage company that released television commercials for their coffee drink made to simulate the jump in energy that their drink would give the consumer. If you haven't figured it out, this is where the scary car commercial originates. A commercial where we see a car driving around some quiet greenery until a zombie jumps out and scares the viewer. There are other Kakia ads such as this that follow the same formula, which feature different average activities including yoga, fishing, and surfing, interrupted by a screamer. The commercials were pulled due to viewer complaints. Obviously, I don't even know how those got approved to be on air. McDonald's.exe is a cousin program to Kakaru, developed by the EU software company that spread alongside it in the early 2000s. It gets its name from the program icon being the McDonald's logo. However, its contents have nothing to do with it or any other fast food, which sucks because it will make it a lot more interesting. When opened, McDonald's.exe will turn the user screen black and show a short horror story, which I'll show here so I don't have to read the whole thing, in green text. Afterwards, everything will disappear, making them think that things are back to normal. After that, a new dialogue window will open which displays the creator, Zhu Haiyi's, contact info. Finally, once the user closes that window, a crazy ghost screamer will appear on the screen. Every 2 minutes, this image would pop up until the user terminates the program through Task Manager. Cartoon Network was also put in hot water due to showcasing the screamer. The Courage the Cowardly Dog screamer commercial began with the scene of the titular character's home in the middle of the night. After 17 seconds, a close-up of the giant spider from the first episode pops up, along with a loud noise until it cuts back to the scene of the quiet farmhouse, accompanied by an announcer saying, "Now you know how it feels," in Spanish. Of course, this one didn't air in the US, so a lot of us won't be familiar with it. HappyPuppies.net is an absolutely disgusting shock site that basically operated as Screamer the website. This domain opened in 2007 and is believed to be made to troll users familiar with the website HappyPuppy.com, a retro video game emulator. Created by Andrzej Naponik, the website would simply open and bombard the user with a slideshow of the nastiest things you can imagine. Most of these things are sexual in nature, but turned up to the next level.
Oh, that's not puppies at all.
The 2005 Resident Evil 4 TV commercial is another infamous television ad. Airing in France, the ad begins with a nude woman breastfeeding her baby, with the narrator stating, "Remember where you are. Feel the most secure, most comfortably, most light. This place will never exist again." Suddenly the woman's face goes black and the zombie's face appears with a high-pitched scream. The ad then cuts to some gameplay in the Capcom logo until the zombie's face pops up once more. This is yet another example of 2000s gaming commercials doing way too much. This era also saw the introduction to screamer hosters, websites known for simply hosting a myriad of screamers such as Cinema do Comical, Cartoon Calamities, and TechZone.com. TechZone became famous for hosting 3 separate screamer titles. The first of the trio is Where's Waldo, an animation originally uploaded to Newgrounds by Pimp Master K-Dog without a screamer. This version simply ends once the player finds Waldo in a crowd of people at the circus. However, the screamer version, uploaded later by The Guy You All Hate, yeah, I guess that's an accurate name, features Waldo inviting the characters to find him in the circus crowd while circus music plays. After 30 seconds, Pazuzu from The Exorcist appears and the scream from Mortal Kombat 2 plays. Many versions would follow this screamer throughout the years, including different YouTube variations, one being a Silver Gunner parody titled Carnival Music Where's Waldo. Famously, Jeremy R. Rentelrod, the creator of the Scary Maze game, stated that this is what inspired his well-known Screamer game. The second of the TechZone 3 is What's Wrong or What's Wrong with This Image, a Screamer flash animation famous for not only showing up on TechZone, but for also being one of the earliest email chain letter pranks. The animation immediately fools the viewer, seeming to be a stock image of a dining room. It then asks the viewer to find what's wrong with it, though there are 0 errors present. After 30 seconds, it cuts to a black and white face of a woman with a large mouth hands around her face's sides, and pinkies raised. An image taken from Getty Images that was inspired by the scream. Along with it, Miss May Kilgore's scream from the film From Hell It Came plays. This is one of the most famous screamers there is, blowing up after being re-uploaded to YouTube and showing up on shows like America's Funniest Home Videos, along with other legendary jump scare videos. Its creator, J. Bell McCarthy, stated in an interview that he really just made the video to scare his girlfriend. Bro, I would never trust him again after that. The final of the TechZone team is Say It, or Watch This, as it was known on Funny Jump. The animation begins by playing the song Say It by the Kumbia Kings, while the lyrics scroll up on a black screen. After 12 seconds, a close-up of the Exorcist girl, Reagan McNeil, who you all may as well get reacquainted with, will pop up along with a loud scream. While many of you may think that this was a copy of the Scary Maze game, this was actually the first screamer to use the Exorcist girl, and was technically also the first lyric video on the internet. Speaking of that, the creator of the Scary Maze game, Jeremy Winterrod, will also create a screamer hosting site called winterrod.com that would showcase various, screamers in the form of videos and games. The most famous of these screamers is obviously the Maze, more popularly known as the Scary Maze game. Most of you know how this one goes, but I'll explain it if you've never seen it. Basically, the player moves the mouse cursor through what are believed to be 4 levels of mazes without touching the walls. However, there are only 3 levels, with level 3 finishing with a jump scare featuring the Exorcist girl. The game also begins with a message saying that it's better played with sound despite the gameplay featuring none. This was released in 2004 and was made by Winterrod for Halloween simply to scare a few friends as an email joke. 5 months later, it was sent back to his mother, and after realizing how viral it went, Winterrod decided to make his website to host it and other prank games he made. The Maze would go on to be the premier screamer, blowing up the reaction genre across YouTube after Outlaw713 uploaded the first reaction video to it. Other big games featured on Winterrod such as Hit the Dot and Optical Illusions share the same format, so I won't waste time going over those. However, Swearing Baby by Kevin11 is a bit of a different story. This viral YouTube video that made its way to winterrod.com features a baby asleep. The baby's skin changes gray and his eyes get bigger. He begins to yell, releasing a scream, and the video goes blurry until flashing and going back to normal. Blue.Gif, or Mystery Room, is a screamer from an unknown creator and is similar to What's Wrong in the fact that it's another Find the Error screamer. This one takes place in a messy room, and after 30 seconds, a kuntilanak, which is an Indonesian, Singaporean, and a Malaysian mythological creature, runs towards the viewer and disappears. I won't lie, when watching it for this video, I kinda rushed to close the window when I saw it running towards the screen like it was gonna jump out of my computer. This screamer was originally released and spread throughout the Indonesian net through the WordPress site. You guys are gonna have to bear with me on this one. Indo Crop Circles. Oh, it was just Indo Crop Circles. indocropcircles.wordpress.com, where the post was covering the topic of ghosts. The actual kuntilanak image here comes from a Korean horror book titled Special Horror Experience, from 1993. Halloween Pictures is another Jeremy Winterrod creation that feels like straight up brain rot. It's a screamer disguised as a slideshow gallery of funny pumpkins. And the fact that someone would fall for this really showed you how young the internet was back then. Anyways, the gallery begins with a photo of drunk pumpkins. This is followed by a pumpkin dressed up as a scarecrow showing his butt. That god dang. And then a giant pumpkin. For some reason, this is followed by a bikini picture of someone supposed to be Sarah Palin, but I'm not going to show that. And then a picture of a pumpkin throwing up along with the caption stating, "Now for the funniest pic." Like I said, honestly, if you clicked next and saw the girl from The Exorcist screaming at you, you 100% deserve that. There is no way someone should have fell for this in the year that it dropped, because come on, man, be for real. While it uses the Exorcist girl scare again, Winterrod's Bubble Wrap Maniac was a diabolical scare tactic, preying on a human lust for the satisfaction of popping bubble wrap. The player is simply tasked with popping virtual wrap, and after 25 seconds, all of our favorite jump scare girl pops up again. There's also an alternate version that replaces her with a creepy girl in a tub with no eyes. Even the gooners of the early 2000s weren't safe for screamers due to the jump scare flash animations like the popular Jessica Alba naked scare. This is exactly what you think it is. It features a cropped image of what's thought to be a nude image of the actress Jessica Alba. This fools the viewer into thinking that the picture is loading up. However, before it finishes loading, a picture of Amy Peterson's horrific face from the film Fright Night appears, along with the sound of a loud roar. Garfield's Scary Scavenger Hunt 2 is a sequel to the original Flash game with the same title minus the 2. This is a point-and-click title featured on the children's website Garfield.com. The player is tasked with helping Garfield get through a haunted maze while finding donuts, muffins, and other snacks. However, when clicking certain objects, they will scare Garfield, which raises the scarometer, which results in a loss when filled. In the gallery of the haunted mansion, if the player clicks on the painting of Garfield sleeping, a message reading, "Study this picture very closely," will appear along with a heads up saying that an important clue is hidden in the image. After around 30 seconds, a cartoon pig demon, along with a loud evil laugh and text saying, "Gotcha," pops up with a heads up saying, "Just kidding." Some of these Flash game developers were actually super evil. Like, these are children's games. Man, you're giving kids trust issues, man. This is crazy. Ghost Caught on Tape or Scary Rocking Chair is another one of what I'd deem the Screamer classics. This 2006 Screamer begins in a green-lit dark room. The room looks like an average family living room with toys on the floor, a couch to the right, and a coffee table. However, what throws it off is the liminal nature of the image and the somewhat out of place rocking chair in the middle of it all. During this, a Chevy commercial plays quietly in the background, along with the mom of the family talking about the Little Mermaid. During all this, we notice that the blanket on the couch begins to move a bit. As time passes, near the end, the rocking chair begins to move. After this phenomenon, a woman with the face of the Exorcist girl pops up in front of the rocker and crawls towards the camera as a scream plays. Finally, the video ends with the text szworld.net. Okay, from now on, unless it's like a mega classic or something, I'm gonna skip the Exorcist girl scares, or at least get a break from her. Going through all these is reminding me of when everyone stopped getting surprised by these scares because everyone was using that same image and the same scare tactics. Speaking of screamer fumbles, there were also screamers that completely failed at their jobs due to unforeseen circumstances. This is the case with two classic YouTube screamers titled Loading Page and Safari. They're each, as their titles explain, depicting a loading page and a simple safari trip clip, respectively, until the eventual jump scare. However, the failure comes from the fact that the thumbnail for each of the videos was the actual jump scare creature on YouTube. In 2004, Carlos Ocezi would release Super Mario Bros., not the official game, a Flash game that masquerades as a port of the original NES title. But as you can guess from the title of this video, it's a screamer in disguise. The game starts with the Nintendo logo before going to a menu that allows the player to select Mario and begin. Funny enough, while the game's world is ripped from Super Mario Bros. 1, the Mario sprite is actually from the third game. Anyway, when you begin and start moving right as you usually would in the original game, a Reaper mask appears along with two screams. Afterwards, a link to Winter Rods appears. Another popular screamer site that appeared in the 2000s is the Chinese website Eddy.com, which held a library of screamers. One of these screamers was Kakia, one of the earliest screamers on the net and one of the most significant. Kakia is an early building block for the horror scene of the internet as we know it today. While urban legends, scary stories, and standard horrific images already ran rampant, a video that set out to give one a false sense of security and calm just to betray them wasn't a thing just yet. The animation is poorly drawn and begins with a stick figure sitting on some grass with the sky in the background. Chinese text that translates to, "How long haven't you?" taking a closer look at the sky appears. We cut to the stick figure walking down a city street where more text appears that reads, "Walking down the street, you see." Finally, our scare of a white-eyed, open-mouthed thing appears along with a loud scream. This all ends with a simple yellow text saying Kakia. This animation first appeared on Kimo, a Taiwanese blog site. It then became a chainmail trend and blew up from there, even appearing in the West. While not everyone got it, with some even just being confused and thinking they ran into some foreign avant-garde piece, The scare survived the test of time due to being a pioneer of the internet horror genre. Another one of these genre definers is Zokin, which translates to searching, also known as find the three differences. It's the same concept as the previously covered What's Wrong, but was the first of its kind and uses a drawn image as its basis. No one knows where it was originally uploaded, but it's exactly what you'd expect going off of the past spot the difference screamers. There's no differences, and after enough time, Amy Peterson from Fright Night appears featuring a roar to scare the player. Another creator that gained a following for creating screamer games was Neil Shapiro, creator of the site Liquid Generation. Liquid Generation hosted animations, flash games, videos, and quizzes that were called sabotage screamers. Users were encouraged to send these to friends and family to scare or embarrass them. They would always end with a scream that said, "You've been sabotaged," along with a ninja. One of these flash games was called ADHD Quick Assessment Test. The game began with a memory test, followed by a short-term memory test, and finally a follow the directions test. During this little Simon Says ending, if the player gets something wrong or after the third success, a picture of a kid in a safety helmet would pop up, shake, and zoom with a scream sound and text saying, "You have ADHD" along with it. I'm sorry, this is messed up, but this is actually this is kind of funny. There were tons of these types of tests in other games and videos alike, including Are You Going to Heaven or Hell, Celebrity IQ Quiz, When Will You Die, the Sex Test, and a lot more featured on Liquid Generation. While the site isn't around anymore, many of these found their way across the net and onto YouTube archives. A screamer shock site that truly shows the difference in old internet culture is lemonparty.org. A shock site that's basically a screamer, but the screamer is just old gay men giving each other favors. This well-known site was the basis of many pranks back in the 2000s and was made to trick people into thinking it was about a Canadian political party called the Lemon Party of Canada. The last group of screamers I want to quickly go over are the series of Michael Jackson ones that went crazy after his death at the end of the 2000s in 2009. The videos Michael Jackson Scary Pop-Up, 1000 Faces of Michael Jackson, and the most infamous, The Ghost of Michael Jackson. While the first are basically just slideshows interrupted by a screamer, The Ghost of Michael Jackson is the one that destroyed children of 2009. The video starts by saying that Michael's ghost was seen on Larry King Live and that you can hear him in the clip. We then go into a long hallway inside Michael Jackson's Neverland residence. A shadow is seen at the end of the hallway, and a few seconds after, a zombie Michael Jackson from Thriller pops up along with a scream for the Scary Maze game. It's funny to think that these once simple scares are now cultural artifacts of an era where the internet still felt like the Wild West. While they may seem crude or outdated today, they paved the way for the viral horrors that we see now. Do you have any stories about getting scared from these screamers? Did I not talk about one that you remember? Let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe for more random 2000s nostalgia and creepy videos like this. I'm having a lot of fun making these, and I'm so happy that so many people are enjoying them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.